Jeff Gerstmann.
Hello, Jan Jerome Ochoa.
Oh man, it's serious. You used my full first name.
That's right. Like you're in trouble or you're an assassin or something. Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking about assassins, you know how in Assassin's Creed you just jump right off a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I just did that with my anime lady.
Okay. So anime Assassin's Creed then. Great.
Anime Assassin's Creed. That is exactly the genre-bending game that Genshin Impact is. Actually, like a lot of folks have probably seen this or heard about this by now. Genshin Impact, kind of like the anime Breath of the Wild. You can see, we've got a stamina bar right there, got a glider. We can climb anything. Anything we can climb, Jeff.
Okay. That sounds okay.
Yeah. But what this has...
Even if it looks a little awkward at times.
Yeah, and, to be honest, it doesn't feel the best either. Like, that jump feels short, right? Like, look at that.
Yeah.
But what this game has that Breath of the Wild doesn't have are multiple playable characters.
Hey.
Look at that. This lady has, like, a hawk. This guy has a fire sword. This lady has a teddy bear spitting fire.
Okay.
And the other thing that this game has that Breath of the Wild doesn't are gacha elements.
Finally.
Because if a AAA game was missing anything, it was missing microtransactions. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, it's free to play, right? It's off the top here. This thing is free, so at least there's that.
Under heavy quotes, technically free to play.
Technically free.
Free
to start.
free to start. Free to start. On PC, PS4, mobile. There's cross saves on PC and mobile, but let's go make a wish, Jeff.
Okay, yeah. I wish that I didn't have to spend as much money on the wishes.
Yes. The wishes are the gacha element. I will say because I guess I started playing this game right at launch. They were very generous with the in-game currency to make wishes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to be Ray J and just make one wish. Let's go ahead and make 10.
Yeah, finally, yeah. Like a hot 10 roll. Let's go.
All right, let's go. I really want Venti. Venti's one of the
large, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Debate.
All right. I have one of those. I started playing this last night. I got a debate club. It's okay.
Do you have a debate club in your high school?
They probably, I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to.
Well, we got
anything.
2 debate clubs now.
All right. Well, that's okay. Do they debate each other? What are we?
The one has to be super alpha. One has to take it not seriously. They just enrolled to get put on their college transcripts.
Fair enough.
Ooh.
Okay. A little
All
4-star.
Right. A little 4-star. Jeff, we have yet to get a single character. And I'm now worried that I won't. Oh, there we go.
Oh.
Barbara.
Oh.
So, this is a large part of the game. Rolling for weapons and characters. I will say that the game, and you're probably at it right now, Jeff. Maybe 2-3 hours in, you get 4 free-to-play characters with your starting protagonist. And those are free. The game will give you those 4. The game has up to, I believe it's 20 or 23 characters that you unlock via the gacha system. I have been fortunate enough to unlock a bunch of different ones. So let's just go down the roster right here. You're probably familiar with Amber, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Amber's
the first, or the second character, I guess you get.
Yeah. And depending on who you choose, this is your protagonist. It's either this lady or her brother. And then, I've been fortunate enough to not roll any dupes and get a bunch of characters.
Cool.
Otherwise, you'd be stuck with, I believe, Kaya here, Amber, the protagonist, and Lisa. And all these characters play somewhat differently.
Well, it's like there's class, it's like what types of weapon you can use. There's sword, claymore,
book,
bow, book.
Yeah. And, you know, with having 4 different characters as opposed to one character just wielding a bunch of weapons like you would have with Link in Breath of the Wild, it kind of opens up the combat to some interesting possibilities. It does leave a little bit to be desired if you were just like mashing away with one character.
Yeah.
Let's go towards this story quest here. With Breath of the Wild, it was, you know, super open-ended. You could kind of do whatever and tackle things in any order you wanted within reason. Here, it's, you know, a defined quest structure. You'll have your daily quests. You'll have random counters as you explore through the world. But let's go. You know what?
Strange mark random event.
Let's mess up this dude. What do you say?
All right. Yeah.
We can show off. That guy has a wooden shield. Oh, he's level 22 though. Whatever.
Okay, I mean, wow.
It's fine. Surprise attack. So you'll see. Oh, he just whacked us in the head.
Yeah. Well, you set his shield on fire at least, so.
We set his shield on fire, so there's that. And then with this character here, we can combine that with the wind and kind of mess up and spread the fire around. Meanwhile, our archer here can do this. And then so like you see that these enemies have different colored elements on top of them.
Yeah.
So the elements will play together in ways you think. Like if these mobs were wet, this electricity would be doing more damage. Or
yeah, okay.
If they were on fire and you shoot them with wind, they'd catch on fire more. Oh, that guy just pulled it. Oh, wow. I didn't know he could do that. But if you were to hit an enemy with, say, fire and electricity, you could overload them and then wind up doing a stun real quick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wish
there's like an element pretty early on where even it seems like there are some environmental things where, you know, if you stand in water, you'll see the status effect wet pop off of your character.
Yes.
So like enemies that are in water kind of get that. And there's another, like one of the first kind of towers I think it's the second tower you go into, they start showing you stuff like, hey, if you hit this rock, it'll make it rain for a couple of seconds.
Yes.
And then if these fire enemies are here, then that's going to, you know, put out the fire, make them take more damage, whatever it is. So I thought it seems sensible, I guess, the way they built the elemental stuff.
Yeah, totally. And then,
does it seem crucial? Have you found the combat to be?
There have been,
or they have so many hit points that like if you're not taking advantage of that stuff, you're at a supreme disadvantage, or is it just kind of?
There will be enemies with elemental shields, so you'll have to kind of tackle them using an element that would work against them. So, like there have been like these fire mages where if you hit them with your fire person here, it's not going to do squat, and their shield is going to stay up. So you need to attack them with an elemental of a different type of element. There have been some puzzles in certain dungeons and environmental puzzles where you will need a specific element. With the dungeons, it's kind of an optional thing. I mentioned this on the Bombcast recently, but there was a dungeon with these flame towers, and you could just walk around them and take more time. Or if you had an ice elemental hero, you could just freeze the tower so you could just walk by.
Right, yeah.
And before we jump in this dungeon, there's like the leveling up system doesn't work how you would normally level up in an RPG. You will get XP from beating story quests, but let's jump into the character menu here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, have you ever leveled up from, because, you know, when you kill an enemy, it'll say, like, you got 10 XP, but then you look at these numbers of how much XP you need to actually level, especially 19 to 20 there. It really seems like they want you to use books.
Yeah, books are the main system of leveling a character up. Like, I had just rolled Jean last night, and I was able to level her up to 18 because I had enough books. So the soft cap at the very beginning is up to level 20. Oh, it's Fun Hawk. And the leveling up system works with using these books. These books you'll pick up via quest rewards or in-game stuff, unlocking chests, doing little side quests. And all it takes is a book and the required money, as you can see down there. Let's level up Fischl to her max. Yeah, sure. And then from there, once someone is at the first soft cap of 20, you can ascend a character. And to ascend a character, you will need these specific materials. Okay. And your adventure rank, which is another thing, you have to level
I'm
up.
adventure rank 6, I think.
Tight. So your adventure rank, that goes up by completing quests and, just discovering stuff in the world. Like, from beating that little enemy encampment and unlocking that chest, we unlocked some XP for our adventure rank. This game has multiplayer.
That's almost more like an account level. Like, instead of a character level, it's like, hey, here's, your overall XP.
Yeah. And for that, there's been like stuff gated off until you get to a certain adventure rank. Like, you can't do co-op until you get to adventure rank 16. There's like an endless kind of dungeon that unlocks at 20 for grinding materials. So those are current quests. We're looking for teardrops in the heart of the jungle. They recommend having an ice or a cryo person, but we'll just go on with this team. You will get bonuses for having 2 of the same type of elements. So if we're fighting with Diluc here and using his flame sword, you're also boosting up Zhangling's ultimate bear summon, which we'll probably see, and we'll pop a bunch of stuff off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this seems cool. Like when I got into it last night and started playing through it, is like it's cooler than the kind of free to play trappings initially led on, I think. But I guess like I started getting to a point with it, and I'm still technically even either in the prologue or just out of the prologue, whatever you want to say. But the combat feels a little basic. Like, it seems like the elemental stuff is it in terms of complexity, because otherwise it's like your basic attack string is just mash circle and mash out a 5-hit attack, or the archers, I think it's more like a 3-hit attack, as well as these aim shots. And I think that was the first barrier I was running into, was like, man, this is there's just not a lot of technique here. You can dash to kind of avoid attacks, and I think Kaya, like, he's as part of his basic attack string, he has a teleport that will, like, on hit 4 or so, will teleport him behind the enemy, which is actually, like, compared to the other characters I have, seems like way overpowered. It's like, oh well, even if I'm not disrupting their attack, by the time they get it off, I will be behind them, so I can just kind of mash so I guess, like, that's my question. That's why I was asking earlier about, like, hey, does this seem like it gets any more complicated? Because now that you have characters that are approaching that first soft cap, like, it still kind of seems like that, as much as you can keep infusing weapons into each other and feeding weapons to other weapons to level up your weapons and roll for more weapons and get more weapons out of chests and all that other stuff. Like, even that seems like, hey, you're just kind of, you're making the numbers go up, which, don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but
there's like, as the bosses, as you proceed through, and like the bosses or like the end of quests, they'll have more complex bosses with like like heavier patterns that you kind of can't just mash your way through with a certain character. You'll have to adapt.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
And so with some characters, they'll have like a summon, like Fischl here, our archer. She can summon this raven here. Meanwhile, Zhangling here can summon this bear. May not be the most useful right now because there's a lot of fire elemental enemies here. Okay, well, he's kind of dead. And then here we'll use our ult, and you get your ult. Oh, Jesus. By wailing on enemies and using your elemental attacks. So then, like, triangle here, as soon as I hit that, you'll do their ult equivalent. And some characters, it's more of like a passive kind of healing thing, like a shield, or an offensive AoE type of deal, like we have with Diluc here. And yeah, the combat, like at first, it felt very bare bones. It was just like I was kind of just rolling with the main protagonist and not really switching it up. But then as the dungeons progressed, it kind of requires you to adapt, because like, you know, I was just kind of rolling with Kaya because I like the freeze ability a lot. But then, you know, you start running into enemies that are freeze resistant. So you have to adapt to that. And then it gets really fun once you see like in our party lineup right there, Fischl and Zhengling have their ults ready. So, you know, if things got really tough, Jean here is really good at crowd control, so you could group everyone up here. Then Diluc could do an AoE with his ult. Fischl could get you out of there with hers. Did I miss something? Did that platform leave? Okay. And then Zhengling here, I forget what her ult does. Is that coming? Okay, it's coming back. So that aspect of the combat's been fun. I could see if you only have the base 4 heroes that the main story gives you, it could get a little repetitive and boring.
So I don't have the 4th free character yet. I got enough of the like wish currency or whatever just from whether it was like starting the game or completing some of the initial quests or whatever that I did, that kind of, they have a discounted, like you get 10 rolls for the price of 8 and you're guaranteed to get this one character. You have her too. I think she's like the little robot looking lady.
Yes.
Though it uses the heavy, like uses that debate club. And so I have her as my 4th right now. And it's nice to have like, hey, here's a heavier weapon, and the character switching stuff with the different elements I think is like an interesting way to do it, instead of like, hey, you can kind of do a light attack, heavy attack, like, instead of just having one character with more complex combat. I think letting you kind of swap that stuff out and try to combo together. So the other thing they have is there's a challenge right now where you can, it's like basically it gives you 2 characters that you probably don't have. And you can play through a quick combat challenge with those 2 characters just to kind of get a feel for like, hey, what are these other characters like? And one of those guys was an archer that his attack kind of...
Oh, yeah, Venti. Yeah. Venti's the hot boy right now.
Yeah, like pulls all of the enemies together into a big whirlwind. And then once they're in there, you can just get in there and wail on them with whatever else you got. And that I thought was a cool technique, but I guess it seems like the things that differentiate the characters are really on those 2 elementals, the R2 like elemental attack, and then the ult, and everything else is just you're kind of equipping these weapons that you're finding all over the place, or getting out of rolls. And I don't know. Have you equipped a weapon that seemed like dramatically different yet?
Not in terms of like how it winds up feeling, maybe in like the passive abilities, like this one gave me like 1,000 plus HP. So you see here, Jeff, like this dude has like a flame shield, so 2 of our characters are basically kind of useless. So you'll have to attack him with a different elemental type. Once that shield is gone, though, you can kind of wail away on him with whatever. So that's where some of that, having like a diverse party kind of matters. I've seen a bunch of tier lists pop up about this game. Oops. Let me just... Oh, Jesus. Nope. I've seen a bunch of tier lists pop out from this game. And I feel like it's almost... just like trying to check out a tier list almost encourages you to like roll more and spend more.
I definitely had a moment last night where I like spent all of the free currency it had given me and was like, well, I mean, I could just buy more, and I'm like, wait, no, don't.
And I'm probably like I have a Pokemon card problem, so this is terrible for me. But with whatever currency the game gives you at first, in whatever you're able to roll, I'd suggest, kind of just trying to max out or adjust your playstyle to fit those characters so you don't have to spend the money. It's been super flexible. Like, before I was even lucky enough to roll like 2 supposed S tier characters, I was having fun with like the other ones I'd unlocked. The story in this game is interesting. I kind of dismissed it in just being, your anime BS. The world is ending. I'm in high school. I have to jump into a mech and like save the world with my friends.
Sure.
But like where the story's at right now, it's kind of talking about like relationships between other countries and like misunderstandings between governments, which is a little heavier than I expected.
Yeah, sometimes an anime thing will go there, right? And
yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, all right, this is actually a metaphor for something else.
That's enough, Gene.
So the introductory cutscene, you're like, it's before you choose which version of the main protagonist you want, the male or female variant. The 2 of them are fighting a god, and that god just straight up has the big blocky attacks that look like she's a boss out of Res.
Yeah.
And my initial reaction was like, oh man, I hope they have a lot of spell effects that look like that. That would be awesome. And then I haven't seen anything remotely as cool as that since. But that introductory cutscene actually sucked me in pretty good, just stylistically. I was like, okay, this has a really neat look to it, and I think the character designs have been all right so far. And I think there's a lot of talk about Paimon. I think Paimon is fine. It's whatever.
Paimon is
like people are like, oh, she's the worst character. It's like, I don't know, man. Paimon seems fine.
Yeah, Paimon has some funny lines here and there. So, like in Breath of the Wild, you could kind of approach the situation in any way you wanted to. There's like a bunch of dudes here that I don't really want to deal with right now. So I'm just going to peep the map real quick and... All right, we're going to teleport here. And then we're going to climb a cliff and then jump down. And then we'll get the chest. It'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy.
All right.
The thing that I'm glad this didn't pull from Breath of the Wild is weapon breakdown.
Oh man, could you imagine like you're paying real money to roll for weapons, and then if they actually still had durability, gosh, that'd be brutal.
It'd be garbage. Oh, that's a big guy over there. So yeah, there's like a lot of random stuff to discover, and I've heard and I've read this that there are common chests around in the world. Apparently, they refresh every day. So people have been making routes.
Like here's your daily chest route.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense if you think about it. Like, hey, this world is only so big, but it's a free-to-play game that they want you to play forever. You know, and if they aren't going to release new content at such a crazy pace that you're never going to see all of it, then eventually you're going to have seen everything, and you're going to be rerunning dungeons multiple times. You're going to be, in these parts of the world over and over again. So they need to kind of refresh that stuff. They need to try to at least keep it fresh.
Totally. Where I'm at right now, so these pips here, they're a little bit bigger. These are statues that'll unlock, visibility for the map. There's like a soft stopgap here where I can't proceed past this border here because story progress. And then with each of these statues, you get another type of currency that you spend to pay tribute to these statues, that'll increase your stamina. I believe it's base HP, and it'll give you other rewards. But yeah, we finessed our way out of that situation.
I just stopped hearing you. I need to try to fix something here.
One, two, three, four.
There you are.
Five.
Hello. Okay. You were talking. It was like you were silenced. You started talking about the premium currencies, and they were like, "No one can know."
Oh god, we'll get into the premium stuff. Let me just turn in this quest, and then
Yeah.
we'll dive deeper into the. I mean, I realize this is probably par for the course for this genre of gacha games,
Yeah.
but it is like it makes almost no sense to me.
I think it's really funny that like we kind of simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but like, you know, as you saw more and more players and even governments kind of getting involved with the idea of random rolls and random drops in games, like the gacha genre was simultaneously becoming massive. and here we are with this kind of, you know, it's like they're Trojan horsing the gacha into players' hands by making it, hey, here's this very nice looking anime action adventure that you know, people speak of favorably when comparing it to like a game like Breath of the Wild, and you're like, what are we doing here? Wait, I thought we were gonna not do this anymore.
It's a funny thing with rolling the characters is you'll just have dupes in world,
Right.
Like there's a quest where you get to play as this guy, but because I rolled him, I have him now, so there's like 2 of him in the world.
Yeah.
It's an interesting problem to have. And so I don't have the main protagonist in my main party here, but I bet she'll pop out for the scene. Right? There she is.
Yep. And how much fashion? I know, like, I unlocked a clothing menu and stuff like that, but I haven't seen any outfits drop. Have you seen?
I haven't come across any outfits. It's just been different types of wings.
Yeah, I've seen the different types of wings they gave out, like a free set.
Yeah. There's another set for like the PS4 players. We're playing this on the PC. In my experience, playing on a base PS4, it was really chunky. I was getting a lot of frame drops. I don't know if it's
I'm hearing it's not great on a Pro either in some places. So that kind of led me to PC also, which I guess, you know, last week there was a lot of talk about the anti-cheat driver being something that runs forever and doesn't uninstall when the game uninstalls and all this other stuff. So a lot of people were like, and me included, were like, okay, well, I'm not going to play on PC. But it sounds like that they have corrected that.
Yes. Yes. I named my main protagonist Anna May.
Okay, yeah. I named mine Insincerity.
It's good.
It's good. It just seemed appropriate for some reason. I don't know why.
The voice acting has been really, really great. And if I understand correctly, in the localization process of this game, the voice actors who would normally like record kind of like with each other in the same booth for like at least this conversational stuff had to record independently. And you know, in a game like Kingdom Hearts, it's very apparent that those voice actors are in separate booths or not recording together.
Right.
Here, it's at least been a little bit more fluid. It actually feels like a conversation.
Well, I feel like the part of that is like it almost seems like they get around it because they make you hit a button at the end of every line, right? So you control the pacing. So they never attempt to have it come off as a naturally paced conversation. They expect you to advance it, and I wonder if that's like I wonder if that's why it feels a little less stilted, because honestly, I think it's like super. It came across as super stilted to me just because they want you to hit a button with every line. Also, you know, look, they don't let you. If you try to get an upskirt camera angle on any of these characters, the character fades out. I don't know if you've accidentally done that.
I've accidentally done that. The
camera, I was
camera
climbing, and I couldn't. At first, I was like, "Why is my character disappearing when I climb? What the hell is happening here?" And then I was like, "Oh, right. They think that this is a problem or whatever." It just stuck out as really weird to me because it's not like I don't know. Like, design the characters differently if that's something that you are concerned about, instead of having to have them vanish. I think it just seems strange.
Yeah, okay, so Jean's wearing pants. Let's try and get a up pants with Diluc here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even then, I just want to see that hot anime boy butt, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, so the main story, as at least of right now, like there's a dragon, but it turns out the dragon isn't bad. You're trying to convince the dragon to be good again.
Uh-huh.
And let's jump into the menus here because there's a fuck ton of stuff going on.
Dude,
Excuse
there's
my
so
language.
many menus. I couldn't like that was my initial, especially like playing on a controller. There are a handful of menus that are that felt like they were maybe built for a phone or you using a mouse a little bit more readily.
Yeah.
And that was yeah, there are a couple. Like I don't think I've read all the notices yet because every time I go in there, it's like, this doesn't seem to work right. And you can't use both. They make you choose whether you're using mouse and keyboard or controller, and one locks out the other, which
nice to meet you. My name
seems
is
weird.
Xiangling. I'm
Yeah.
a chef from Liyue.
I don't know if it's because I'm using a PS4 controller, but I would every time I've launched this game, I've had to enable controller support. It'll always go in, at least for me personally.
I have had to do the
default.
same on with an Xbox One controller, so I think that's
Gotcha.
it's just not retaining that selection, and that's annoying.
Yeah.
You have to log all the way into the game
Mhm.
and then hit escape and then go in and set it to controller every single time.
So this is like one of the many menus. Here you'll get your daily login bonuses.
Hello, nice to meet
This
you.
is
My name
where
is Xiangling. I'm
you
a
can
chef
jump
from
into
Liyue.
one of
My
the
favorite place is the chicken.
um,
the kitchen.
one.
Oh,
God damn it!
I practice
Stop
so
talking.
hard.
One of the endless
Nice to meet
dungeons, and if you get to a
My
certain
name is Xiangling.
floor,
I'm a
you
chef
can
from
unlock
Liyue. My
jangling.
favorite-
Oh, cool.
But you do have to be
Nice to
adventure
meet
rank
you.
20.
My name-
Oh.
Here, I think this is the trials you had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
You can try out Venti, you can try out Barbara and Fischl. You can try these characters out and you'll get a bonus. You won't necessarily unlock these characters.
Right. It'll just make
which-
you think, boy, I should sure spend some money and hope that I can get these characters.
Oh yeah, because like your main protagonist is like a wind elemental hero, and it kind of leaves a little bit to be desired with her or his abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Playing as Venti for like the one dungeon was like, oh my god, this little boy is a wind magic man.
This is where that's where the real wind power is for sure.
Oh yeah. And then so you have your quest lines here. You can just sort them out like how you normally would. Reunion with Dragon. We have some other story quests, and this is where the game kind of confuses me, because here it says Prologue Act 2, but in this other set of quests they say Act 1. So
that's Act 1 of this different chapter. So
okay,
you haven't
All
completed
right.
the prologue, but also you're at the beginning of this other. So they probably just have every single quest line is a chapter or something like that, whether it's the prologue or the ladle or the Tempest Fugget chapter.
Fugget. And then you'll have like daily commission quests, and once you complete all these, this will unlock another set of rewards.
Goddamn Timmy.
Oh, Timmy. Did you
see Tim? Yeah. I talked to Timmy when you first scare away all the pigeons, and it's like this. It is so. I don't know what the word is. But like he's just like, oh, you scared away the pigeons away. What if one day they never come back, just like Dad? And you're just like, oh, Jesus.
And what's funny is one of your first daily quests is to find and feed some birds you scared off. I've seen people reporting online that they accidentally killed the birds they were supposed to feed.
Cool.
And that unlocked a different set of quests with Timmy. So, there's some flexibility and some branching paths going on.
All right. Yeah.
Let's see. You got a map here. Let's go into our character stuff. Let's get into the weapons. God. So the weapons here, you'll get a bunch, either from unlocking them, different chests, quests, etc. But let's see which we have. This one with Diluc. But you can enhance a sword like you would with a loot game, and the game will auto add stuff that is appropriate, and then it'll consume those and some money to upgrade or enhance your weapon. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Cool. But on top of that, hold on. There are artifacts. These are your accessories, and some of these have set bonuses, like you can see on the right-hand side there. If I have 4 pieces of the adventure set, we'll get a couple bonuses for opening chests. And these you can also enhance on top of everything else.
Yeah. You can feed everything to everything.
Yes.
Or not everything to everything, but you can feed everything. What did the constellation stuff do? I haven't.
Oh boy. So the constellation stuff. So if you actually get a dupe of a character from rolling, you would feed the material you get from the dupe to unlock pieces in each character's constellation map.
Man.
So,
wow.
I don't want to do the mental math here, because with 23 characters and with the possibility to get at least 1 per 10 wishes, it would take, I'm going to ballpark and say 40 years to max out a character's constellation map.
Yeah, and by then they will have probably added another 100 characters or so. So
that is a
luck.
legitimate thing I fear in this game.
Yeah, and it looks like you can level up your talents as well there, because those have levels under them.
Yeah.
But that's what you have to ascend. You have to get to the past level 20 for that. It looks like.
Let me see if I have the abilities. Okay. Dang it! I don't have enough of. What is this? So you can craft these materials from stuff you're finding, or you can buy them in shops around this Mondstadt, the main town. And ascending the character will bring them up to 40, and then you can upgrade some of their talents from there. It'll also unlock additional talents, whether they be passive or active stuff you're ticking off. God, there's probably a million more things in the menus. Inventory, journal. So your adventure journal is more things to
I
keep.
haven't even looked at this. Are these are like because I know there's an achievement system.
Oh God, yeah, there's an achievement.
And you have to go
system.
claim the rewards from them when you fulfill the achievement. You can't just passively earn those things. You have to go click, yes, give me the gems.
Yeah. So this is your adventure log. They give this to you pretty early, and thankfully, it'll retroactively count things.
Nice. That
you're doing also. And this is just another way to get money, adventure ranks, other items, XP stuff. And thankfully, a lot of this stuff is just things you'll be doing as you're progressing through the story. Like I wouldn't be able to do this yet because that region of the map is locked off, but progressing through the story will be able to unlock that statue. And then some of this is just like, hey, maybe you should start leveling up your artifacts, but this also includes your daily commissions and in-game bosses. And these are bosses that are in the overworld.
Okay, so just like a random overworld boss that you can go.
Yeah, specific ones.
Got it. Yeah.
But you see the treasure collection cost thing down there?
Yeah. Oh, so you can't you need to have a currency to collect the rewards, so you can't just farm the bosses over and over again?
You can spend one of the many types of currency in this game to refresh that. But you are passively earning the I forget what the moon currency is called, but you get one.
It's called energy. It's just called energy. Right. It's just energy, right?
Right. Yeah. You get one every 8 minutes.
Oh man.
There's also, if you talk to Catherine, who's the head of the Adventure Guild here, you can also dispatch characters to.
What?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in this game, and it baffles me that it's free to start. I feel like if you were just super stubborn and just wanted to go at it free to play, you could. But so here, if you have a bunch of heroes that you're not using, you can just dispatch them onto these side missions.
Okay, and they'll come back with stuff.
Yeah, they'll come back with stuff. In my experience, it hasn't mattered what level they are. It'll just take the requisite amount of hours, so 4, 8, 12, 20. God, let's actually hit the pause button here. And there's more stuff. So you could set up your party. You mentioned achievements, and achievements, it's various things, whether it be story or combat stuff. Friends, you can send friend requests, but you won't be able to play with other folks until you get to adventure rank 16. Party setup, you could pre-make parties to switch on the fly. Let's see. You can take a photo, notices. Like in Breath of the Wild, you can advance the time. There have been certain missions where you need to enter the church at 8 o'clock p.m.
Oh, okay.
So instead of just waiting in-game time, you can just fast forward to that. We should get into this shop real quick. So Jesus Christ. Those, what are these called? The Genesis crystals that you can buy here is a 1-for-1 transaction into primogems or primogems.
Okay.
And then the primogems,
can I get some primos?
Yeah, get some primos. You can use those to exchange for these intertwined or acquaint fates. And those you can use to make wishes. However, from making wishes, you also gain other types of currency. You see we have 3 types up there on the right. And those you can buy the different fates. Some of these are limited depending on
So was that you could just buy are you purchasing a razor, or is that a character? Okay, so that's the character.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why you would buy amber.
That's weird.
Because,
to feed to amber so you can unlock a thing, right? You need 6 amber. You need 7 ambers minimum.
Jesus.
I don't know, unless they ramp it up. I don't know. You need more ambers to feed to amber. God, that's how this game is devious.
That's how Jurassic World started. Jurassic Park. Enough with the amber. But yeah, so you could buy Razor if you had enough of that currency that you get from making wishes. Yeah, you can pop.
Okay, so I haven't seen that version of the shop yet. I only saw like the buy some crystals and then buy some wishes or whatever it was. Okay, so this is at least there's something in here.
This gift shop here, I don't think this is worth it. I'm gonna say it because it takes 300 of these paid for currency.
Yeah,
and yeah, you'll get this enchantment stuff and adventures experience, but the game is just throwing it at you, at least to begin with. I understand this game gets very grind heavy once you get to
I bet.
Like the level caps for characters and then your adventure rank. And then there's also, Jeff, a world rank that starts popping off once you get to adventure rank 20. So there's a lot of systems going on.
Huh, yeah.
And it's all gated with, or at least like presented like, hey, it's free to play. You don't have to spend a dime, but
really, you're gonna be. That's one of those things of like, how much do you value your time? If you like, it's like technically you could probably grind out a lot of this stuff. Maybe not even all of it, or maybe all of it, but like honestly. And I think that's where it comes down for me, is just like, I think this is cool, but also I don't know that I'm enjoying the combat enough to. Like, that was the thing that pulled me back from the ledge when I was like, after I did a roll and got a character, I was like, I should just do a bunch more of these and get a bunch of stuff. Jan got to Luke. I hear he's good. I should keep rolling until I get to Luke so I can have to. And then I was like, wait, that's how they get you. And also, I'm not actually sure that I'm enjoying this game enough to warrant any of that yet. And so I held off. But I do want to keep playing it. And I'm not opposed to throwing some money into it if I get to a point where it's like, hey, you know what, I like this and I think it's worth it to put something in there.
Let's mess up this guy before we dip out. So this is one of your like dailies. I will say that's a little disappointing, and I imagine this can't be a hard thing to patch in, but you can't remap the buttons, at least on PC.
It is extremely, we were just talking about how, PS5 is gonna, remap the yes and no buttons for Japanese users this time out. The gamepad controls on this are extremely, like, they feel extremely Japanese. It is very much like circle to go forward, or like whatever, B on an Xbox controller. like to attack and to get into menus and A to back out and stuff like that, which I'm not used to seeing on PC all that often. And so I've definitely been tripped up there a little bit.
And there's a bunch of more elements from Breath of the Wild that the game lifts, and the developers aren't shying away from those criticisms. They kind of wear it proudly on their sleeve of like, hey, Breath of the Wild's a good game. If you're comparing ours to that, then A+.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's mining in the game. There's cooking in the game. The cooking, thankfully, for certain dishes, if you just do 5 or 10 of a dish, you could just auto cook a big batch. And even within that, there's a lot of waiting going on.
And even there, you'll have like certain characters can cook certain dishes better, and they might get special dishes if you switch to that character before you cook, and like this. Yeah, they've really complicated every single facet of the game in ways that are sometimes I think really interesting, but sometimes feel like they're more in service of, hey, what if you spent more money and had another character and did another this and kept that potential money loop going. And I guess my advice to players out there would be you should totally give this a shot, but also be careful.
Yes.
Because it's good, and
it's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope, right? So yeah.
There's, if you wind up picking this game, there is an obscene amount of resources. Because this game is
I just
kind
see
of
you running,
blown up.
and I'm watching you run past all this stuff and not collecting it, and I'm just going like, oh my god, why isn't he getting? But it's literally everywhere.
It's literally everywhere. I wish more games did this, lifted the Breath of the Wild map system, so you can just mark up the map and make specific things of like, hey, I saw that there was like, there's food here, birds
Wow,
laying
they really
here.
did. Yeah, okay.
Or there's mining.
Jeez.
Yeah. Definitely not shy about it. And I'm not shy, Jeff Gersman, that I really enjoy this game, and I'm probably going to be playing more of it because it's got me.
How much have you put any real money into it yet?
Thankfully, I've not put any real money. Before this quick look, I thought about just dumping money in so we could just keep rolling.
Yeah, just hella rolls.
Hella rolls. But yeah, this has been Genshin Impact, PC, mobile, PS4. Apparently, a Switch port is coming later this year, supposedly. And it's neat.
It's neat. I want to see how the co-op ends up working out. I think Ben on the Bombcast this week was saying that it seemed like, or maybe it was you that said that it seemed like the host's world is the only one that progresses and gets rewards and stuff like that, and that maybe there might not be enough reason to join someone else's game. But I don't know.
I think if I understand correctly, you can do the like the temples or like the dungeon equivalents co-op, and those should give you the rewards for everyone. It's
Great.
If you join a person's world, like if you were to jump in here, I don't know if you would get your adventure rank going up for stuff we're coming across.
Right, because it's my world hasn't necessarily been exposed, or I haven't found filled out the map in my version of the world. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I'm curious to see how they actually do that sort of stuff. Because that's that seems like, hopefully that co-op would be good, because this seems like it could be fun to check out with someone else.
Totally, 100%. I'm gonna keep plugging away. I'm gonna keep raising my adventure rank, and then probably 12 other ranks that are gonna pop off afterwards after I kill this. No, I missed. What?
Nah.
I'm gonna get it. All right. I'm gonna get it. Oh, you know what? I'll get this bird instead.
Oh, nope, you're not.
Damn it.
Jeez. Okay.
Well, I have this electric bird. Oh, pro tip. Shoot your bird. Well, if it was in combat, there's a talent that you can unlock. You shoot the bird freaks out and does like an AoE type of
Seems
deal.
really fucked up, but I'm all for it.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Thanks, Jan.